What's up, guys? This is Alex Quin. I'm a Forbes accredited marketer and global keynote speaker. And this is the Hustle Inspires Hustle podcast. We are a self-development and entrepreneurship community for go-getters to organize their life and business. Get ready to gain knowledge from top-level entrepreneurs and world-class business leaders and be one step closer to becoming the ultimate entrepreneur. Before we start this episode, how would you feel if I told you that you could change your whole business process around with just $20? Keep on listening to the episode to find out how. The Hustle Inspires Hustle podcast teamed up with ManyChat as the official podcast partner for this year's Conversations 2019 in Austin, Texas. We hope you enjoyed the value from these episodes and let us know what you think. What is up, guys? This is Alex Quin, and you're listening to the Hustle Inspires Hustle podcast. This episode continues the Hustle Inspires Hustle ManyChat podcast series that took place this past weekend. And we're very excited to have Randi Zuckerberg on the podcast this week. Randi, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I was very excited to see you perform over there at ManyChat, bring your vision, bring your energy. We didn't get a chance to do the podcast over there with so many things going on. I know you had to fly back that same day. You did an in and out, but you took the time to sit here with us today, and we're very grateful for that. We want to make best use of our time here with the little time that we have, and we know that you could bring massive value for our audience being young digital entrepreneurs and marketers. I want to go ahead and jump right into it, Randi. I was very impressed with your background. Me being a marketer myself, I've been a marketer for the last 7 years. I have my own agency. Seeing the things that you've done with your marketing career and what you're doing with your agency and the relationships you have with ManyChat and many other people that I look up to, it was definitely something very exciting for me to set up. So let's talk about your innovations. Okay. You were behind the creation of Facebook Live. Tell me a little bit about that. How did that come to be?
It's funny because I think sometimes the best innovations happen a bit accidentally or organically. I've always been a big fan of just trying a lot of things, taking a lot of risks, and not getting too emotionally attached to any of my projects or things that I'm trying, so that I can try 10 things knowing that 9 of them are not going to work, but the one that is going to work is going to change the world, and I can double down on that. So I got very passionate around the launch of the iPhone, and I feel like this is making me sound like I was in the Stone Ages, but the iPhone really, when you think about it, it really only came out 12 years ago, and when you think about how much it's changed the world in that 12 years is pretty crazy. But I was out in Silicon Valley, and I started to think, oh my gosh, this device is going to enable every single one of us to be our own media company. So I went back to Facebook, and I had a day job at Facebook running marketing. But we used to do these hackathons where we would stay up all night and just kind of pick new projects to work on. And so at one hackathon, I started live broadcasting and trying to tell people in the outside world what was going on at Facebook. And I called it Facebook Live with Randi Zuckerberg. And lo and behold, fast forward 12 years later, it's now being used by over 1 billion people. And Facebook has a humongous team of people that are working on Facebook Live every day. So it's been a great journey.
That's amazing. And from what I have here, you did that from 2005 to 2011. You were director of marketing.
Exactly. So I think, Facebook Live only launched to everyone around the world only a few years ago. But it was 2010 that I started working on that. And so, I only say that to show that I think nothing is truly an overnight success. I know it's easy for all of us, especially young people out there just starting their careers, to think like, oh my gosh, everyone around me is starting a company and raising money and getting successful overnight, and I'm the only one who's not doing that. But there's no such thing as an overnight success. Behind anything that looked like an overnight success was years and years of hard work and struggles and failing.
Since you're listening to this episode, I want to make sure that you save my phone number so I can let you know about new podcast episodes or networking events going on in your area. Go to my Instagram, Alex Quin, AlexQuin, and hit the contact button and then text me. Of course. And that's what I really try to teach my students through the podcast, through our mastermind, through all the events that we do. It's guys, like, listen, like this thing's going to be difficult. Like everything great in life comes with difficulty and adversity, but it's in that difficulty that you find your true purpose. So look at that. You know, you came up with that. It's look how many years it's been and how much it's developed, but it just goes to show that no idea is too far-fetched. It's just a matter of follow-up. It's just a matter of action. And you've had a lot of action in your career. Moving on from Facebook, let's talk about your marketing firm and production company, Zuckerberg Media. You're a New York Times best-selling author. You have a lot of great things going on. It just goes to show that you're very organized. You're very focused. It's something that aligns a lot with what I'm doing right now. I'm writing. I'm taking the time to expand my businesses, and I've been director of marketing. I've scaled up to CMO. Now I'm running an agency. So it's a lot of stuff going on constantly. So many things being thrown at you, and it requires a lot of concentration, a lot of focus, a lot of mental strength, a good support system. Talk to me about your business. Talk to me about your company culture. What are your goals for the agency?
First of all, congrats to you on all of your success. It's really exciting to meet a fellow marketer who's, sharing a lot of these goals. Alex, I don't know if you'd agree with me on this, but I think, for me, the number one skill that I had to learn was how to say no to things.
I'm still struggling with that. I'm sure you do too.
Man. It's so easy to have FOMO about the things you're not doing, and everything looks shiny and distracting and new. And I can't tell you how many meetings I go to where I'm like, oh, that sounds so fun. And then I actually have to just force myself to say, okay, just because it's fun, is that going to actually further my business and my career? Probably not. So I probably have to say no to it. And it's so hard because I've always had this view that life is like a dessert buffet. There's always room for one more delicious thing. But the honest answer is that when you're running a business or creating a personal brand, there's not always room for just one more thing, especially if it doesn't further your goals. So I think everything starts with creating a really strong mission statement and personal brand, and then just making sure you're kind of ruthlessly focused on accomplishing that and saying no to things that don't fit into that, even if they seem fun or shiny.
Yeah, that's something that I've been struggling with most of my marketing career, because I take pride in trying to be the best, looking to be the best marketer I could potentially be. And with that comes a lot of attention through the podcast, through the keynotes that I speak around the world, so many things, and everybody's always pitching something. And by nature, I want to help everyone. By nature, I want to always create. But when I drift away from the things, from my core fundamental things that I need for my business to grow, I start seeing that my mind starts to drift, and I start spreading myself too thin. So one of the things that I've been working on myself as part of self-development, and as well as in the book that I'm writing right now, is specifically shiny object syndrome. Because as entrepreneurs, this applies to any industry, really, right? We're talking about marketing right now. We're marketers, but we're talking about anything, really. Once you know that you have a passion for something, you can't let anything take you off track. You have to be able to be a sponge, and you have to be able to learn and gain wisdom from the things around you, the people around you, your experiences, and always be open-minded towards growing and sometimes pivoting. But you don't always want to be in constant change where you're confusing yourself, you're confusing your followers, you're confusing your supporters, you're confusing your family, to the point where people might not really know what you do. And then it's more difficult for your core services that are marketing, right, in our specific case, to be recognized as marketing, because then you're a serial entrepreneur, then you're this, then you're that. But when you're trying to stay within one niche and you're trying to niche down and really become the best at that niche, you have to have a very clear brand message. You have to have a very clear brand voice. And that's something that I've struggled with. So it's great to hear that I'm not alone in that one.
So I think it's so smart. And even just to give you an example, that happened to me this week. I had an entrepreneur who was pitching me to invest in their business. The pitch was going really well. I was really excited about it. And then at the end of the pitch, the entrepreneur started telling me about all of the other things they do too. And I think they thought maybe they were impressing me. But to me, I just it was like red warning lights. I was like, oh no, this entrepreneur is distracted. They're not going to be like 100% working towards, making money for my investment. And, so I think it's always better in business to just focus. It's very, very hard to say no to things, but I think that's the number one skill.
I know. And that's something that the youth should definitely be aware of, that it's okay to say no. It's okay to feel like you're going to be left out of something. There's going to be right opportunities for you. They're going to come up as long as you stay in motion, as long as you stay positive. And I know that's part of your mission right now is introducing children to an environment where they could learn about tech and science in a fun way. What's going on with that?
Yes. So about 6 or 7 years ago, I sat down to think, what is my new mission statement in business? And my mission is truly to get more women and girls in the room in business, especially in technology and STEM fields. And so I did about a year of research to figure out where we were losing them, because in order to really focus on getting them there, I needed to know where they were falling off. And I was shocked to learn that it starts at 8 years old that we're losing girls in tech. That's sometime around 3rd, 4th grade. When kids become socially aware, the girls start thinking that that's for boys. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't know anything about children's entertainment. I honestly, I knew nothing. I never would have looked you in the eye and said that I wanted to start a children's media company. But I was so passionate about solving this problem that I started Zuckerberg Media. And our goal is we create tons of children's entertainment. We have picture books, we have television shows, we have pop-up restaurants that use 3D printers to cook food, all kinds of things just to delight kids. The other gap that I found in my research is around becoming entrepreneurs. I found that a lot of women fall out at that point because they're struggling to get fundraising. They don't have a strong peer mentoring group around them to help them the way guys do. And so a lot of women don't follow through with companies that they start. And so I started a second company aside from Zuckerberg Media called Zuckerberg Institute. And that is entirely focused around giving mentorship, investment support to entrepreneurs in that pivotal moment where they feel like they want to give up. They just need that mentoring and coaching group around them. So those are really the two businesses where I spend all of my time these days, focused on kind of entrepreneurs in that critical moment of starting something, and then young children.
Let's take a quick break. I want to tell you about a new way I run my business. So did you know that I was able to increase my workload and close more leads by automating my client onboarding operation over the last few months? I removed the friction points in my communication process so clients are able to approve, sign, and pay all in one go. This was all thanks to HoneyBook. HoneyBook is a client management software that helps businesses like yours manage and automate projects. Now, from the moment your clients are ready to say yes, they'll automatically receive the proposal, contract, and payment all in one email. So you're able to focus on getting more clients, less friction, and more deals. Thanks to HoneyBook, all Hustle Inspires Hustle listeners get 50% off when you go to honeybook.com and use promo code ALEX, ALEX. Now, let's jump back into the episode. This is why I was excited to speak to you, because of the way that the things that you're doing right now, how they're aligned with what my team is working on. And I said, you know what, it would be a really healthy conversation to get some really great insight for both parties on this specific area, because you are a marketing executive, you are running your firm, right? But you're concentrating on education, which goes hand in hand with us. We're running our marketing agency and we're concentrating on educating young adults. And at first, Randy, to be honest with you, that wasn't my goal in business, right? I was more money driven. But as I got through this whole entrepreneurial process, which could be pretty crazy, it could be very emotionally draining, it could be very lonely, I noticed that, I am very grateful to have a support system from my family that believes in me and believes in what I do. But there's a lot of young children out there who don't have a support system like I did growing up. And kids could get really, really scarred by things that go on in their childhood. And sometimes kids don't have the right mentor or the right role model in order to show them that there's always a way out of a bad situation, right? Sometimes when we're stuck in a situation that doesn't favor us, we tend to feel like we're doomed to be in that place, or that there's nothing better for us, in most cases, right? But there is a way out, and there is people that actually are out there and they're good and they want to help and that they want to be role models, and they have a platform like you do, may have a platform like I do, and they use that platform to empower others. So I thought it was really cool what you were doing. We are trying to we're pretty much what we're trying to do with our mastermind and mentoring program is to show young kids that you could be any age and do something as long as you're determined and as long as you show up to work and as long as you hold yourself accountable. It doesn't matter if in the future you change your mind on what you want to do, but as long as you get started and you really get your feet wet and you trust that you could do something, the possibilities are endless. Like, you sat there at Facebook, you guys were putting in crazy hours into Facebook. You decided to do a Facebook Live, and now 2 billion people are using this platform, right? You were a young girl doing your thing, putting in the work that you wanted to put in. You were thinking about what you wanted to do. You put the work in, and it came to life. And just like you did that, and just like many other people have done so many other things, it just goes to show young digital marketers, young entrepreneurs right now, that you could be any race, you could be any religion, you could be any gender, you could come up with whatever you want. And we live in a world that is so interconnected now and has so much opportunity and information at our fingertips that the support system is just a click away. So support system like yours, support systems like ours are available out there. There's a lot of free content out there, like podcasts, like videos that you could find online, because sometimes people don't have the resources, right? That's something that I hear a lot. Oh, well, I don't have the resources. Well, now with social media and now with digital media platforms, we have these things available to us. This podcast that we're doing right now, ton of people are going to listen to it in over 42 countries. This is free of charge. This is free advice that we're putting out there into the world, trying to show kids that they could do what we're doing.
I love that. I think that's really amazing. Like, that really inspired me, hearing everything you were saying. And like, one of the things where I've grown in my business is I've realized that if you're given an opportunity, if someone holds a door open for you, like, the best thing that you can do is to pay it forward. And, you know, I got very lucky that my brother started a successful company. He thought to include me in that early founding team. But, you know, every single day since he opened that door for me, I've just really worked my ass off to earn that spot and to hold the door open for other people behind me. And one of the things I'm really focused on these days is looking outside of the coasts, you know, outside of California and New York, and making sure that we don't forget about millions of people in other cities in our country, in our own backyard, who don't have the kind of access to mentoring and fundraising and information that we have. And so that's really, I love hearing you talk about, you know, all the tools that people have. It makes the world smaller. It means that someone coming from a rich neighborhood has the exact same access to podcasts and masterminds and things as someone, you know, growing up in the middle of the country. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I encourage other thought leaders, other people in the space to, I mean, you know, you don't have to dedicate your life to, you know, to educating, but you should dedicate a portion of your time or a portion of your audience, of your influence, to doing something positive for people. Because in a world that's so connected, we're also very disconnected in some ways. And a lot of people feel very alone at times, or like they don't have the proper support system. And man, I grew my career through relationships. I grew my career through people allowing me opportunities, me working my ass off to make sure that I made a name for myself and that nothing was just handed to me, right? Anybody could do it. The thing is that sometimes people blow opportunities because they get in their own way. I've gotten in my own way. I'm sure you've gotten in your own way before. And sometimes it takes a lot of self-awareness, and sometimes people aren't ready. But while they are getting ready, if they have the right people around them and they don't have anchors holding them down, then the only way they could go is up. And that's what we're trying to do here with this podcast. So, again, Randy, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast. We're very excited to connect with you. What is the best place for everyone to find you, find your agency? Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. Let us know what's good.
I'm always on Instagram. I'm just at Randi Zuckerberg. And then LinkedIn, I'm very active on there. So I think those are kind of the two big platforms that I'm on every day. And I'd love to hear more, whether you're an entrepreneur who wants to pitch your startup, if you want to get involved with some of the coaching we do at Zuckerberg Institute, or if you just want to talk about Broadway musicals with me, which is my other passion, definitely hit me up on
two-time Tony Award-winning theater producer. You have everything under your sleeve, man.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's great. I think when you start living your life in service of other people, a lot of your own dreams start coming true. And I've really seen that the more I give, the more I get in abundance. So it's really it's a beautiful thing that you're doing.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Randi. You heard it here, guys. This is the Hustle Inspires Hustle podcast. See you next week. This wraps up our ManyChat series. Thank you so much to ManyChat and all of the speakers from this year's Conversations 2019 who jumped on the podcast. And a special thank you to Randi Zuckerberg. If you're a young entrepreneur or you're just starting out your business, seek out mentorship or mastermind groups like ours where you can find that type of support and coaching. Don't forget to check out honeybook.com to automate your business processes so you could get more clients and get paid faster. Get 50% off when you use code ALEX. ALEX. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to tune in. I'd really appreciate it if you guys could share with someone, review, or even subscribe to the podcast. If you want to connect with me, follow me on Instagram at Hustle Inspires Hustle. Or you could follow me on my personal, Alex Quin with one N. This is the Hustle Inspires Hustle podcast with Alex Quin.